While Prime Minister Modi has dialed Donald Trump for the first time after Trump took charge as the 47th President of the United States of America, Modi congratulated Trump on his second term, and both leaders discussed various facets of the comprehensive global strategic partnership. Donald Trump stressed on continued Indian purchases of U.S. defense equipment and also sought India's cooperation on taking back illegal immigrants from the U.S. India said that it is ready to bring back 18,000 immigrants after a vetting process. But with Trump hinting at Prime Minister Modi's early visit in February to the U.S., what is it that India needs from Trump? Well, Donald Trump has warned India along with China with the tariffs, but what is needed to further India's partnership is the big question. Joining us at this point is Ambassador Bhashwati Mukherjee, former diplomat. We also have Pramit Pal Chaudhary, senior journalist, live with us. Major General Sanjay Meston, defense expert, is joining us live. Robinder Sachdev, international affairs expert, is also with us on the broadcast. Let me make a start with you first, Ambassador Mukherjee. What do you make of this fact that we could see Narendra Modi headed to the United States, within the first 2 months of the Donald Trump presidency? In fact, within the first month, actually, if you count from the 20th of January onwards. How big a deal would this be for India if that does happen? And what do you make of this phone call and the contents that has happened last night?
Well, it is a very big deal from a diplomatic perspective, because the fact that our PM is visiting U.S. was announced by the U.S. President before we announced it. In my 39 years in the Foreign Service, I've never come across a situation where the host announces the visit of the visitor, which shows how much importance President Trump attaches to the relationship with India, with our PM, and to the visit. On our part, we've also said, apparently, PM has said, and with regard to illegal immigrants, that we'll do the right thing. That's what President Trump quoted him as saying. I haven't seen any official readout from MEA, but this is again coming from American sources, which I'm sure Pramit will know better than me. But again, it's very unusual that the Americans are quoting what our Prime Minister has said. That being said, it is certainly extremely important. It shows that that although he is a deal maker and unpredictable, somewhat of a maverick, he has understood the importance of the India-U.S. strategic partnership. Otherwise, he certainly would not have done what he did. Secondly, I think he has also said that this meeting is going to result in many important issues. I hope that we would be able to put aside the troubling and unpredictable issue of tariffs. We would be able to deal with that at a lower level through trade representatives and sort it out. On the other hand, we do need to have continued access to vital American technology. So that is something which the Biden administration had been good enough to make it accessible to us. We hope that will continue. We will take the opportunity to underline the importance of a continued and strong American presence in the Indo-Pacific through the Quad, and also through a bilateral relationship with the United States. And I'm sure we would also be able to sensitize the American president with regard to our security concerns, which have risen due to regime change in Bangladesh, orchestrated, many of us believe, and I do the same, by the American deep state. This has resulted in an unprecedented situation where India is surrounded on 3.5 sides with a possible war. We have the ceasefire on the west, which is holding. We have the Sino-Indian border. We have now a fresh front on Bangladesh, and we have the Rakhine state, which directly threatens our northeast and our Siliguri corridor. This is not a situation that we have faced in the past in a very long time, and we would need to sensitize the U.S. president on the need to cool down and calm down things in Bangladesh ASAP, so that we can bring that border under control, and also hope that the Americans understand what a big threat there is if Myanmar becomes unstable and splits into two parts, Rakhine state and the Rum state of Myanmar. That poses a huge threat to us, particularly because the Rakhine state apparently is now closely allied to China. So it's almost as if we have a new front with China, which has opened up on our northeast, which was always complicated in any case. So these are some of the issues, I think, that we would need to really work out at the highest level. And so I think I personally welcome very much the telephone conversation, the outcome. And as I said, since President Trump, in his inimical manner, decided to announce our Prime Minister's visit in February, before MEA could do so or PMO could do so, well, we just hope that it's going to be a huge success. They certainly have excellent rapport from his first presidency, and we hope that will continue. I'm sure it will continue. Uday.
Okay, let me in fact quickly also bring in Pramit Pal Chaudhary. Pramit, what do you believe were the contents of this first phone call between the two leaders after Donald Trump took charge as US President? In fact, Prime Minister Modi now becomes amongst the first few leaders he's spoken with. And what all could we hope for to be on the agenda when the PM does go to the US, as has been announced by Donald Trump himself?
So the company I work with, Eurasia Group, we've been looking at a lot of how Trump has been acting with other governments. One thing is clear, he doesn't really care whether or not you are an ally of the United States historically. You can see him going after Denmark. Second, he's very, very concerned or unhappy with countries that run large goods trade surpluses. India runs a reasonably large one, about $40 billion plus, with the United States. But he does like certain leaders more than he likes others, and whether you're a Democrat, autocrat, or whatever, it doesn't really matter to him. He just seems to like you on the basis of certain things. And there are certain countries he just seems to take to more seriously than others. India is positive on a half of those fronts, so that gives us space for a deal. And I think crafting that deal is what every major government is trying to do. What are the points in which you can keep Trump happy enough to come to an agreement on the points that you have problems with? So we are preparing, as reports have shown, attempts to reduce that trade surplus on goods. We run a bigger surplus on services, but that doesn't seem to bother Trump. So purchases of American weapons, he's already signaled, but we'll probably also buy more oil and various other products. That's a reasonably easy give. He has no territorial ambitions on India, and he has come out in favor of H-1B visas after a certain degree of reformation. So on the immigration side, I don't see a major problem. The game now, though, for India, and this is something, remember, even under Trump 1.0, that took place, but we couldn't take it further because of the COVID breakout, was that he had indicated a desire for some sort of an FTA with India, some sort of a comprehensive economic agreement which incorporated a degree of technology. This is something I don't think India will have a problem with, because we were supportive then of that idea. And if you look at a lot of the FTAs we are signing now, we incorporate technology, labor mobility, investment into such agreements. And getting such a deal with the United States would be perfect. It's our single largest economic partner in terms of FDI, FBI, trade, remittances. So this is it would be an incredible boost to confidence in India overall. The question, of course, is how to negotiate it with a person who has very strong, should say, mercantilist views of how economics works. And that is going to be the real trick when Modi meets him in February. What is useful for us is that Trump likes Modi and has never said anything negative about him. In fact, quite the opposite. And is clearly one of the world leaders he tends to take seriously. So there have been no major threats to India, or nothing that he hasn't said to every other country in the world. But overall, he's actually been quite supportive. So we'll have to play that, if you wish, with some finesse. And I expect that's going to be the heart of what's going to going out on February. Working at a roadmap which allows us to come together, to come to the kind of deal, the big deal that Trump really likes.
Yes, I mean, this visit happening so soon into the Trump presidency, does that say a lot in itself, Major General Miston? And what can be read into, what will be, of course, on the anvil once the two leaders do physically meet after they've spoken on the phone so soon after Donald Trump took charge?
President Modi perhaps may become the first world leader to be reaching Washington for this bilateral meeting. And if that happens, which scheduled in February, I think it's a great milestone and a victory for India. I think in the geostrategic context, President Trump, and not only President Trump, the United States realizes the importance of India, and therefore we, as it is, are having a comprehensive defense strategic partnership with the United States, and which has been going on very well since 2008. But I think now, keeping in mind President Trump's personality, I think everything now would be more of economy driven. See, even in his statements, he has said, make America the great, and that should be the first. And not only that, America would be the biggest manufacturing hub in the entire world. It has to beat China. So, keeping in these mind, keeping all these factors in mind, since he has an economic bent of mind, therefore, India probably has quite a win-win situation, and I will state why. Firstly, as regards defense, most of the items we were planning, including GE F-41 engines, to be jointly produced in India. So I think that may happen. Things will be given impetus, and perhaps we may buy more of technical or critical emerging technology equipment from the US, and therefore that will also, to some extent, balance out the trade, which is his priority, of course, with many countries, including China. Not much with India, but yes, he has stated that with India also it needs to be balanced out. So I think on the import side, from defense side, we may go in for more procurement, and that suits us because even now we are planning to get Hellfire missiles. More Apache Hepters are coming for the Indian Army. So on that account, I think things would be much better. Then also he realizes the importance of India in the Quad scenario, and therefore now, of course, with the what China has done recently, this deep seek AI. I think that has come as a big shocker to President Trump, despite, earlier he was favoring them in number of issues. So therefore, including in TikTok, you are aware that he has, I think, given the 75-day leeway period. So perhaps now he may get more hardened towards China because the way the Nvidia stocks have just gone, I think, 17% down. So this is definitely going to impact President Trump's thinking and psyche. So probably there's a case in point that, he's also made a point that it is something like a Sputnik which has happened to US. I think he may be referring to India, that India today, along with the US jointly, we can now think of, AI, because we are the finest of, I would say, the youth, and that is what we have the asset. And what is more surprisingly is that China, despite a ban on semiconductors, the best of the high-grade technology of semiconductors, they have gone in, and at a much cheaper rate, they've produced this AI deep sea. So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps this may be an opportunity, and India should actually propose this, because again, it will be good. It will give a good impetus on the technical front also with both the countries. And as regards the strategic aspects are concerned, Quad is, yes, important. As the Ambassador Mukherjee had also pointed out, it's very good situation for us now in Bangladesh, that Trump has already, refused to give any further aid to Bangladesh. So that is in our interest. And I think he'll be quite tough even with Pakistan. And he's not going to accept, he realizes India and the United States has been hit by terrorism, and therefore here also we'll have convergence. And the fact that Rahman has also now been, of course, it's not the role of Trump, it's the US judicial system which has held our hand. So I think these are good steps in the right direction. We may have more of intelligence sharing and counter terrorism, tackling all these issues. So overall, I think for India, it's a good situation. Perhaps it's a win-win situation. And our importance in United States is going to be high, and therefore our youth who has gone there, I think even Elon Musk has realized. So probably, we may not bear the brunt, unlike the other countries. We may only bear brunt of some people who have really illegally, gone there, and perhaps they may be deported. And I think here even our foreign minister was quite
okay. Let me quickly also get in Ravinder Sachdev now. Ravinder Sachdev, what can we hope from the Trump presidency? Which way is the India-U.S. partnership likely to head now? What all will be on the agenda once Modi and Trump finally do meet? And we hope that will be as early as next month, as the American president has indicated.
Thank you so much, Uday. A pleasure to be with you and the colleagues esteemed. A couple of things before we go in. To my mind, the first question is that why is the meeting happening so soon? Okay, it's good for India, great, but why? Is there some, timeline or whatever, which is driving this? To my mind, there are two aspects which I see, or maybe some more. One is, which Trump has also mentioned, and I think Pramit Chaudhary also mentioned, and Ambassador and General also. Trump would look to get some big deal from India, let's say defense purchase. Right. So, so that he can claim a big win, right? That would be one big reasonable win, something worth, 5, 10, whatever, big ticket item, a defense deal like that. That would be one. Second to my mind is that in terms of the timeline, I still have, a sense that India and the US will be cooperating on resolving the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, I don't know. So that's something I would speculate that in this meeting, they would take some tangible, concrete. India, Prime Minister Modi has been working. He's done the rounds with all the, stakeholders, Zelensky, Putin, etc. a couple of times, one-on-one talks. Trump wants to end it soon. So this would be one other on the agenda, definitely. Yes, and they've mentioned in the phone call also that, peace in Ukraine was discussed or whatever. To my mind, that would be a natural synergy between India and the US. So that's something which should be also done quickly. So quick win in defense, exports of the US, Russia, Ukraine, with respect to timelines. Now, coming to the other things. On trade, absolutely yes. As earlier discussed, there is scope for US-India trade to expand. We've not had a big, forget a free trade agreement, but even a bigger agreement so far. Trump in his first presidency wanted to start it out, and then things went along, COVID came along, he wanted a big deal or no deal, we were not there yet, etc. So that went pending. One model which could be there would be something like the US-Japan trade agreement. A free trade agreement typically has to have be covering substantial areas of trade. Now, India-US may not cover all areas of trade. That's one, hassle there. The second, a free trade agreement notionally has to be approved by the US Congress. So what Trump did with the Japan deal, they made a wide-ranging deal on tariffs and other things, right? And Trump, they did not, go to the WTO, neither to the US Congress, but the deal is working fairly okay. So that could be one model of a US-India trade deal in some sense, which would then subsume, all these aspects of tariffs and, how much we, etc., etc. So let's see what we see ahead on that trade deal. Immigration, yes, as everyone is saying, we will be doing the right thing. And so the matter of illegal immigrants, the matter of H1s and all is a totally different matter, but illegals, we'll be doing the right thing. If they have to be deported, who have already been convicted, fine, we'll take them back with all due respect. One other, I think, aspect of Prime Minister Modi's visit, and again linked to the trade and all, is, I think, to project, not I'll say an image, but a perception that US-India trade relations are on a stable path. Because you see, that is roiling up the stock markets. Okay, the stock markets are looking at some signals up, down, here, there, etc., some uncertainty. So once a trade, if not an agreement, a trade understanding is made with Trump, that would be, I think, a very good signal for the stock markets in India as well as the FIIs, etc., that, okay, US-India is on a stable path, right, as compared to various other countries where we don't know, ups and downs are happening. So I think that would be one key aspect that Prime Minister Modi would like to kind of have a takeaway, that that's the signal which goes to the markets. Now, amongst other things, of course, yes, India, to buy more LNG from US, that's what they would want. That could also be part of the kitty, which, India does, buy in order to kind of reduce the deficit or work around the deficit, which Trump wants to very much, kind of narrow down. So these are a few or some which I see. I also am not sure, but these two leaders want to think big. They do think big, so they will deliver something interesting. That's my take. Okay, it could also be perhaps a cooperation deeper on civil nuclear energy. Remember, our nuclear deal has been in the cold. There are several issues, but that could be also revived or
Yes.
Put into motion, because nuclear energy is having a kind of renaissance in the world, and okay, it's is clean green fuel, though Trump doesn't bother with green, but it boosts American exports, right? Both your Westinghouse and the GE Hitachi combined. So that could be something out there. As General Miston said, yes, something on AI. I mean, AI, DeepSeek has given them everyone, I think, huge. And I think we still have not absorbed the reality. If what DeepSeek has done is what it's being talked about, if it really is that, then it is going to shatter the AI leadership, the AI business models. Just 2 days ago, 5 days ago, they announced a $500 billion project, which would be, building 500,000 square feet data centers, 10 in Texas, 10 in California, etc., etc. Now with this, that looks foolish. I mean, if what the Chinese have done, right?
Point taken. Point taken. Let me quickly draw in Ambassador Mukherjee as well. Ambassador Mukherjee, now as far as, of course, now this relationship with the United States is concerned, what does India, need and hope for from the U.S.? What are the resets we are hoping that this Trump presidency, will bring about that weren't there in the Biden presidency? What are our hopes and aspirations, ahead of this meeting with Donald Trump?
The first reset is the hope that the U.S. presidency, the State Department, etc., understand India's core security concerns today. And for that, I cannot overemphasize the huge problem that we have in a new front having opened up with Bangladesh on one hand and on the Myanmar border with the other. And for that, if the Americans act tough, they've already cut off aid. If they act tough, they can bring the situation in Bangladesh under control in a situation where we would be able to fence our border, we would be able to bring some control back on what's happening there. Because at the moment, we are in a situation where the Bangladeshis are even trying to object to our fencing on our side of the border, which is absolutely vital in order to prevent infiltration on one hand and to guard our core security interests on the other. The second, as I said earlier, is access to vital technology. Third is yes, I agree with my colleague who spoke about the fact, I think it was Mr. Sachdeva, who said that they would want a big defense deal from us. I would agree with that. This is the way Trump behaves. He would immediately tout it as a huge triumph on both sides. And why not? We are in a situation where we badly need defense equipment. We need to strengthen our armed forces. We need more divisions for the Indian Army, etc., etc. And so we will have to spend more of our GDP on defense acquisitions because we today face a visceral threat on 3.5 fronts. So we have to do that. And if the Americans can give us the kind of technology that we need, it's exactly what we would require. Moreover, yes, we would also be in a situation to improve and enhance our intelligence sharing, to calm down the kind of situations which happened in the Biden administration, where the Biden administration seemed to be completely blind to the fact that there are Khalistanis sitting there threatening to blow up Air India planes, etc., and being given protection by the American deep state. All this will stop, and that itself will be a huge advantage to us, because as it is now, Trudeau is gone. Hopefully, we will be able to bring things back under control as far as India-Canada is concerned. And now, if we are able to bring a close to some of the issues which had been raised about why has this Indian agent done this, or why has this Indian agent done that, but there's no proof on what was being said, we would be able to put a close to all that. We would be able to move the relationship forward the way it should be.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us in this discussion. Let's slip into a short break.